Approved medical marijuana way back in 2000, and it took 13 years for lawmakers to approve any regulations for its cultivation and sale. Another 2 years go by, and still there are issues slowing down the process. One issue is a provision allowing dispensaries to buy marijuana from a registered patient. However, patients can possess only 2 ounces of, quote, usable marijuana every 2 weeks, and the batches need expensive tests, making it difficult for dispensaries to recover their costs. Euphoria Wellness is poised to become Clark County's first dispensary to open for business. The group's been ready since February, but the group says Clark County is unreasonably holding up its business. Why? Joining me now to discuss this growing issue, let's start the bad puns right away. Maggie McCletchie, she's an attorney representing Euphoria Wellness. We also have Jason Sturtsman. He's a vice president of Wellness Education Cannabis Advocates of Nevada, or get the acronym, We Can. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me on.
I want to get into the specifics of your case, the case that you're making against Clark County. You've made a huge public records request. You say you haven't decided whether to sue or not, Ms. McCletchie. But basically, these guys got to be frustrated, your clients. They've invested a lot of money. Euphoria had a very successful business enterprise before this. I'm sure they've invested a lot of money. They've been ready to go now for about 6 months almost. They got to be going crazy.
We are frustrated. We don't understand the delays. It's not just the issue with product. There's been other strange delays and strange conditions placed on our business license that we don't understand, and we want to know the reasons for the delays too. That's why we issued a public records request yesterday. Their response will be due next Tuesday, and the questions we asked, the documents we asked, we're seeking from them will hopefully explain the bases for what they're doing.
Well, but I mean, I've known you for a long time. You're not a conspiracy theorist, but this does seem, and this is a very extensive public records request here. You're asking for a lot of different records relating to the delays in Euphoria getting going here. But is this just a fishing expedition, or do you have concrete evidence that they are for some reason stopping your client from going into business?
You have known me for a long time, and I've practiced law in all sorts of arenas. I've been practicing law for 13 years. This has been the most confusing, difficult process in my entire law practice dealing with business licensing. Why? And we don't know why. We don't know what's going on. There's been all kinds of delays. We don't know what the motivations and intentions are. I'm not going to speculate. My client thinks that there may be some uncomfortability on the part of business licensing with the idea of marijuana itself, or even with the fact that our clients are going to serve people in the LGBT community and people living with AIDS. We don't know. We just know that business.
You're not going to speculate, but you just did.
I said my client believes my client believes that might be an issue with business licensing.
But that's crazy. What's crazy about this, Ms. McCletchie, and let me go to you, Mr. Smith, is this was approved 15 years ago. These dispensaries should have been up and running. A lengthy application process, rivalry between the state and the county, crazy inverted process, I think, with the county down here. Let me show you what you told the Las Vegas Sun last month, Mr. Sturtsman. You said, the industry is being held back a little bit by government. A lot of these businesses, when they applied in August, started paying rent. They're already starting to hemorrhage cash. Patients have also suffered as the delays mean an even longer wait for access to high-quality, easily accessible medical marijuana. There's not options out there for patients, Sturtsman said. Do you want your mother or father who's suffering from cancer going out to the street corner to buy cannabis? As I've said many times in this just absolutely flabbergasts me that it's taken this long. Sir, there's 2 issues here. One is these entrepreneurs who are investing a lot of money. I don't think people realize how much money they are. Then the issue that you bring up, the patients. Why do you think it's been delayed this long?
I think that because we are a new industry, I think we're going to be one of the most regulated industry in the whole United States. We're also having some of the most stringent testing requirements in the whole United States too as well. That I think that the Division of Public and Behavioral Health, Chad Westham, is doing the best that he can with the limited resources that they have. Everything is new to them, just like it's very new to Clark County, new to North Las Vegas, new to the city of Las Vegas. And I think it is taking a little bit too long for this to roll out. I would have expected us to have product in a dispensary in May at Euphoria with patients, and now we're looking at probably around August, September we're going to see the first cultivators having products so dispensaries can carry that cultivation facility product.
Well, it's not clear exactly what's going on, as Ms. McCletchie said. But I guess you talk to a lot of different owners of these businesses. You're involved in one yourself. Have you had similar interactions to what Ms. McCletchie has described with Euphoria and the business license department with Clark County here?
I can say for the city of North Las Vegas has been wonderful. And also I've attended a lot of the city of Las Vegas and also the Clark County meetings too as well. And they seem overall, they want to work with these licensees, and they want to see medical marijuana. And there are patients right now, there's children that need to end their seizures, and they need cannabis as a medicine. And you have children that have hundreds of seizures a day, being able to have just one a month. So, and there's MS patients, there's cancer patients, and right now they're getting cannabis from weed maps, they're getting it from
we talked about weed maps on this program. In case people don't know, this is essentially illegal. There's a website where people can order this off. It's not legal, but Metro's just not going to take the time to really crack down on it. So you have an illegal business flourishing, right? When something that was made legal in this state 15 years ago.
That's exactly the problem, and that medicine is obviously not tested. And Jason mentioned the stringent regulations, and it took the state a while, and I think it is a new industry, and everybody is struggling with how to develop a new industry, both attorneys, business leaders, regulators. We understand that. But we had product that was tested. We had samples from product. We didn't have the product itself, but samples from product that was tested and safe and that we could have sold to patients, but business licensing wouldn't let us do it. And we understand the need to regulate this industry. We are talking about medicine. We are talking about a Schedule I drug. We've complied with all the regulations. We passed our state inspection with flying colors. Our concern is that business licensing appears to be making it up as they go. When they came to our facility, for example, they said that a county commissioner didn't like our paraphernalia display, and that they put a condition in our business license that says we couldn't have two of any one kind of medical marijuana paraphernalia or medical marijuana ingestion device.
Okay.
None of that stuff makes sense.
Let me stop you, because that is absolutely ridiculous. You're saying that staff folks from the business license department came to the Euphoria facility and said there were county commissioners who told them they didn't like the way it looked?
There was a county commissioner who told business licensing they didn't like our medical marijuana paraphernalia device display.
Who?
County Commissioner Steve Sislak.
He's the
He
chairman
didn't
of the
like our
board,
display, and so he told business licensing that we had to change how we were displaying our medical marijuana devices.
What didn't he like about it?
I actually don't know the specifics. I just know that they put a provision in our business license that we could only have two of each type, which makes no sense. Our dispensary is a very clean, spa-like atmosphere given my client's prior business experience. We're targeting people like middle-aged women with breast cancer that don't want to have to come to Euphoria and then go to a head shop where it's not regulated to buy a device to actually consume the product.
Part of the problem here, and you saw at the top of this program, Tick Segerblom essentially has been the father of this whole initiative to get medical marijuana legalized. You're going to say expressing his frustration. That was on a program with Steve Sislak here, and there was an argument about between what the county is saying, what the state is saying. He actually wrote an email to the person you mentioned before, Chad Westrom, was overseeing all this back in January, expressing concern, but what he refers to as the state's position that a home grower can only sell 1.5 ounces of marijuana to a dispensary. Segerblom said it would destroy any opportunity to open any dispensaries before June. Of course, he was right? Here's what Mr. Westrom said in response. Senator, this is not the state's position as far as I know. He cites the law that seems to limit patients from transporting more than 2.5 usable ounces, but they could sell or donate and transport 12 whole plants. I don't see anything preventing an MME, that's medical marijuana, agent from picking up a greater quantity of usable marijuana from the selling, donating patient. If the home growers and MMEs can choose to consider that. Now, Mr. Sturtsman, have you heard this argument before?
So a patient can have 2.5 ounces every 14 days. However, the state of Nevada, per 453A, has said that a patient absolutely can sell medicine, either genetics to a cultivator, or also they can sell up to their 12 plants that they're allowed to possess as a patient. So some patients are excellent cultivators that they actually can get a pound per plant. Some even get like 1.5 pounds per plant if they cultivate those plants big. So up until now, the expectation that Tick had was that in his legislative intent was that patients absolutely, they are grandfathered in to cultivate until 2018. Why not allow these patients to sell their medicine to dispensaries so they can get open quicker or sooner? And
what's the answer to that question? What you just said, and I've heard Tick several times, it's logical. What's the answer? Why not? Why not let them? What's the answer?
Well, the answer to me, and it would have to be based on what the Division of Public and Behavioral Health and also the jurisdictions too as well say, and allow what they say to allow dispensaries to be able to take patient product. And there's absolutely, patients are very upset that they've been over 10 years without access to medicine. And
of course they're upset. Again, this was, I keep saying this, and I've said it every time I've talked about this. This was approved in 2000. This should have been online at the latest in 2002. Let's give them the best case scenario. But the legislature, this war between the state and the county.
Your question has no answer. There is no reason. As Mr. Weston's email says, there is nothing in the law that governs dispensaries and medical marijuana establishments that limits how much they can get from patients. I've sat down with the attorney for the division, and she agrees that it would be outside the division's jurisdiction to enact a limitation on the amount that a dispensary can get. If it's outside their jurisdiction, we're supposed to construe local government authority more narrowly than state authority, especially in this area. There is absolutely no basis to do it. The county is making things up and interpreting the law for what... as they like. They're making things up.
Again, I've said this before too. The state should have ranked all these people. The local jurisdictions should have just had responsibility for where they go and nothing else, in my opinion. But my opinion, of course, doesn't matter. Let's show people what you did today. And this is from the RJ story. You want to shed light on what's going on. So you put this public records request in. You filed it includes 13 separate requests for documents, including emails and phone records. Maggie McClellan, this is from the RJ. Euphoria's attorney has called the county's treatment of the business unfair and arbitrary. She said county officials have barred the dispensary from buying plants from home growers. That's what we just talked about, even though it's allowed by state law. The county also inserted a clause in Euphoria's temporary business license limiting displays of pipes and other devices. McCletchy said that was based not on a law or regulation, but on a county commissioners, and you just talked about that, Steve Sisolak. Both topics are covered by the records request. We wanted somebody from the county on this program, so I'm sure knowing you, would have asked them some direct questions. We couldn't get anybody, but I want to show you, just so we're fair, what the county sent to us as part of the statement. The temporary business license issued to Euphoria was conditioned based on the representation made by Euphoria to the Department of Business License that Euphoria will only acquire its initial product from cultivation facilities that obtained their registration certificates from the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and are properly licensed by the local jurisdiction. Now, I know you want to jump in, but the fact is your client did agree to this condition. I asked the county to provide us with the actual letter. So here it is. Here, take a look at it. Here's a letter dated April 21st from Darlene Purdy. She's the managing director of Euphoria Wellness. Here's what she wrote to the Business License Department. Due to the concerns that business licensing and others at the county have expressed regarding Euphoria's plans to procure product from patients, Euphoria has abandoned its plans to do so. Instead, Euphoria will only acquire its initial product from cultivation facilities that have obtained their registration certificates from the Division of Public and Behavioral Health and licenses from business licensing. Your client agreed to it. I know they didn't want to, but they agreed to this, right?
Well, we should have had to agree to it, but we also agreed to it because at that point the county told us that there was going to be a cultivation facility that was going to have product available. And so that's why we agreed to it. And now it's turned into this bizarre circular thing where we say, can we get that condition removed? And they say no, and we say, why not? What's the basis? And they say, because that's what the business licensing says. So right now, business licensing's justification for that is essentially because we said so. And I don't think that's good enough. And I think they're really forgetting about what the overall policy here is. The policy here of this law, as we've been talking about, is to get safe product to patients. Is it better that people Google and find weed maps and get unsafe product? No, it's not. And representatives from Euphoria have sat down with Sheriff Lombardo on 3 different occasions, and he does not object to what we're doing. So why does the county.
Well, Sheriff Lombardo doesn't want weed maps doing what they're doing. He would love to see the business be legal, and so this illegal business would be put out of business, right?
Everybody should want us open.
Yep.
Everybody should want us open. We had hired staff because to get a state inspection, we needed to have hired and trained staff. We had to lay off our staff because the county wouldn't let us open.
Well, let me ask you a question, sir. Since you can look at this from a broader perspective, I guess this is something that Franz Kafka couldn't have imagined with this bureaucratic nightmare that her client and others are going through. Is it just because it's pot, which is still a Schedule I illegal drug by the federal government that has a stigma, so it does scare some people, so that's why this is going so slow? Is that what you think?
I think that just because it's really new to Nevada, and because we've had gaming and we've had we were the first in the whole entire country that developed some of the regulations with regards to gaming. We're developing some of those standards right now for cannabis. I think that people will look to Nevada to see once medical dispensaries open, and patients are going to be thrilled to death to actually have 1 or 2 dispensaries initially open, and hopefully we're going to see more open from there. That up till now, patients have not had safe access, and I think that it's we're going to be in a better place once those dispensaries open up, and I think
one's opening in Sparks, by the way, from what I understand, on Friday. So they apparently have their act together up in Sparks to get with. You said that North Las Vegas, I think you mentioned.
Once they see the world has not, the sky has not fallen, just like Colorado. Colorado, when they legalized, they went to recreational and also their medical too as well. That there's people, there's taxes generated. There's going to be thousands of new jobs generated too as well. Hopefully some of this money is going to go to education. And someone told me recently, I guess we're number 50 in the whole country.
You didn't know those figures before, sir?
I do now.
I guess what I'm wondering about, I mean, listen, there's a fairness issue here too. You know, the ones who are smart enough, fast enough to get ready, like Euphoria, you know, they shouldn't have to be waiting. They should be open. They should have been.
And there should be a level playing field. And that's what we're asking for. And we don't want county officials making things up.
Well, the county, but according to the allegations you're making, essentially, is that the county is is creating an unlevel playing field versus maybe in North Las Vegas, maybe in Sparks. Steve Sisolak was on this program, as I mentioned, the county commission chairman, with Tick Segerbloom, and I asked him about the root of all these problems between the state and the county. Here's what he said.
Unfortunately, the statute is, the opinion I'm getting from the district attorney's office that handles this for us, that it allows a patient to have 2.5 ounces or 12 plants. It doesn't allow the patient to have 12 or 15 pounds of marijuana that they can then take and sell to a dispensary. That's the situation that we're in. They're saying, what difference does it make if I have 12 plants that are all mature? That's like 12 or 15 pounds of pot. Let me just clip it all off and sell that to the dispensary. The law doesn't allow for that. Now, if the legislature would have chosen to fix that, that's one thing, but they didn't.
So he's hanging his hat on advice that he got, he claims, from County Counsel Mary Ann Miller. Have you talked to her?
I did talk to her. And you know what's so funny? When I talked to her, she essentially said that she was relying on the interpretation from Steve Sisolak.
No, come on.
So everything is very, I kid you not, this is all very circular.
She's the lawyer.
She also expressed personal disgust at our medical marijuana procurement plan. She thought it was morally reprehensible.
What does that mean?
She said she found our marijuana procurement plan, our plan to get product from patients, personally reprehensible.
Why?
I don't know. Again, we understand that this is a new area for everybody. We understand that this is going to be a regulated area, and it should be, but we shouldn't be letting county officials act in arbitrary and capricious ways.
That's very bizarre that you...
This whole process has been so...
You're not exaggerating this conversation. Mary Ann Miller's been there a long time.
I am not exaggerating this conversation, John, and you've known me for a long time. I don't make things up. This has been the most bizarre process trying to deal with business licensing. Now, look, I'm not the most connected or experienced land use lawyer dealing with business licensing. This is a new area for me, but I will tell you, this has been a quagmire. It's totally opaque. The process has been incredibly frustrating. And that's why we're trying to get more information.
What do you think they're going to find?
I think, what are they going to particularly find at Clark County?
Yeah, I mean, Clark County seems to be the outlier in how jurisdictions are handling this. The cities seem to be moving faster, at least now. What's going on in Clark County?
Well, I think that soon as we see cultivators open up with product and dispensaries such as Euphoria, other dispensaries in the state of Nevada be able to take product from cultivation facilities, then a lot of this will not. I mean, it could, of course, be a point for Euphoria, and they'll maybe could take it to court, and they could follow through with some of the things that they're stating. But hopefully in a month, hopefully month and a half tops, we're going to see cultivation facilities turning out product to dispensaries, and I think a lot of this conversation may be a little bit not as predominant. You
are radiating optimism, sir. not as much as Meg McClellan. We only have about 30 seconds. You are planning to sue, are you not?
I actually don't want to sue, John. I know you're going to think that's funny. I don't want to sue. What I want to see is the county back off, stop exceeding their jurisdiction, and I want us to be able to move forward.
You think this will pressure them to relent the public records request?
I don't know, but right now what seems to be happening, given the fact that we heard that a county commissioner, Steve Sislak, didn't like our paraphernalia display, and that ended up in our business license. I'm not sure what role all the county commissioners...
All these stories are very bizarre.
They're very bizarre, and they happen, John. But my point is that maybe once we get more county commissioners involved, maybe when we shed more light on what's going on, maybe they'll back off. That's what I want to see happen.
I am in the light-shedding business, ma'am, but we're out of time for shedding light tonight. I really appreciate both of you coming on the program. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, John.
All right. And on the next Ralston Live, more of the issues that matter to you from people in the know. Don't miss it. But if you do, by some terrible